Hello and welcome back to A Splash of Paint. Now let's jump straight in and rejoin spellbinding professional artist Sharon Hurst as she prepares to put the final finishing touches to today's Try Your Hand At project.
Hello, back again. There we are. Look at that. I have to tell you, I'm quite chuffed with that. That is the kind of effect that you're looking for. I'd say to you, try when you're working with salt to make sure that you're working with transparent colours, because they're much easier for the salt to suck back off from the up from the paper. Opaque colours are larger grains and they sit and they stick. What we want to do now is let us just start laying some colour in to get rid of some of the white paper. Our cauldron, we're going to paint that a lovely gold. Have you ever come across quinacridone gold? It's beautiful. It's a super warm colour and pale, pale, pale with lots of water. It's like this. Look at that. Isn't that just sunshine yellow? But of course, if you take it neat from the tube, it's toffee coloured. Look at this. I'll just show you because it's gorgeous. Look. So let's, for now, just lay the colour in. Use your brush, pull the colour around, enjoy it. Very often, people don't enjoy the stroke of the brush. It's a lovely tool, best to be used like this, flat, full of paint. Just draw the colour across. Top of the cauldron, I'd like that just a little bit paler for now. Come through here, pick up the drips. If you were at home, a good way to work this, stick at about 45 degrees if you've got a drawing board or an easel. But when you're too upright, it makes life a little difficult for you because, of course, your water is running down the page. Gravity gets everything in the end, doesn't it? So just popping the colour in here. 2 handles, 1 and 2. And we'll tighten up and sharpen up some of those edges in a minute. Just for now, let's lay some colour in. Our hat has got this buckle on it. That I intend to leave. I'll do that last. That's going to be gold as well. The lovely band around the hat here, we're going to take the Scarlet Lake and pop that in there, because then that gives us a nice continuity in the picture so that we're not using thousands of different colours. There we are. Allow that to dry. And now let's put some colour on our pussycat. He's just going to be a little Payne's grey pussycat. So taking this colour, and again quite thickly, I want to lay this onto him here. Pull the colour down, just enough fluid on your brush to move the colour. Don't come up to the edges. Reason for that, you know. You cannot have this dark, dark Payne's grey against this dark background. It's not going to show. So at this point, if we're clever enough, we can be ambidrustrous. Look, 2 brushes. 1 damp one, 1 with the paint. And with this, I just like to pull water through the colour around the edges, like so. Just to give that glow of light on the edge of his fur. Watch out for the old cauldron, because that's still damp. And then transferring back to the brush with the paint on it, load with paint again, come in and just fill the paint in. If you have brush strokes, don't worry about it, because of course brush strokes could be his fur, would make it look like his fur. Just take the colour and load it onto the pusscat. I've got 2 of these at home and they refuse point blank to sit for models. Horrible creatures. The minute you get the camera out or you think that you're going to take a photograph of them or paint them, they're off. Thank you very much, not doing that today. So here we go. Up to the edge again, same applies, up to the edge. Then with the damp brush, come in and just smudge it so that you have that lighter edge around the cat. There we are. Now once you have the colour in, you can refine it. I'd like to keep all these little white hairs down here. They're just glowing in the light. Leave them be, all right? Once you've reached that stage, come back into the cat, and now we need to just refine the colour and fill in. Once we've filled in our cat, the next thing we need to do is come over here and work on our hat. Now the same applies with this, but if you want to, we could just lay in a little bit of light on the side of the hat. And to do that, take your quinacridone gold and just drop it down the side of the hat like so. Just put that there, and that will give the idea of a little bit of residual glow from our cauldron. And now we can go back into it and start loading with the Payne's grey again. Witches' hats, I'm afraid, are usually black, so here we go. Fill the colour in, nudge it up to the gold. Again, don't come right up to the edges. Leave the edges bare, and we can smudge those in. Fill it in, just load the paint onto the hat. We'll do the top first here, up to the buckle and up to the ribbon, like so. Take a breather, and then you can use your other brush simply to load with water and smudge the edges. I do this a lot actually. I use this technique when I'm painting my moons and to soften the edges against the sky. If I'm painting animals like this, I will do the same, and it just gives you a soft edge rather than that hard wedge of colour there. It's a soft edge. If we wanted to, we can just come in through this dark here, and we could just pull it through a little bit to give the idea of a crease in the hat, a little crease in the fabric. Now let's come down and we'll do this area down here. Again, using the Payne's grey. Don't forget, emulsion thickness. You want to be using this as though you're painting your walls at home. Nudge it up against the band of the hat. You see how that red sings against this. Now here I have a lighter background, so I'm able now to just put this in really quite darkly there. Look at that. And again, I've got my contrast back here. So lighter down here on the floor means I can put a darker edge. The edge of the hat, use the whole of the side of the brush. Enjoy it. Just load the paint on. And then a little bit of colour on the cauldron. Going back to our quinacridone gold. And again, using this quite thickly, deep colour, I'd like to simply come in down this side of my cauldron, taking this as the darker side. Let us just imagine that this is a lip on the cauldron, so we would have a dark rim around here. Put it on, rinse the brush, dab off the excess liquid, and simply come in underneath. That is the brush stroke that's going to keep that edge wet. Now clean it again, you want to get rid of the pigment, and this is the brush stroke that's going to blend it. That's the plan. Again, I need to have colour down the side of the cauldron, and for this, simply bring your gold all the way down and round, use the curve of the cauldron, like so, and again, same applies, rinse, dab off the excess liquid, come back, and I just want to blend it gently like so. Now to make this cauldron curve both ways, shall we just do exactly the same on the other side, but just make it a little bit of a thinner shadow. So down here, look at that. Do you see what I mean about using this colour thickly? And it's toffee coloured, isn't it? Look at that. So just around there, up round the feet of the cauldron, rinse, come back. That's the brush stroke, as I say, to keep it moist. And now the brush stroke to blend it with a clean brush. If you're feeling clever, you can do that with 2 brushes. Up here, let's have just a little bit of differential there. I'm now going to lay in a little darker gold along the top of the cauldron here. A little more water. So just along the top of the cauldron, just to give myself a bit of shadow. Again, just come in and rinse and blend. These handles on the cauldron, again, need a little bit of shadow. They need some shadow here, where they're attached, and here, where they're attached to the body. So same applies here and here. And you can come in, rinse, and just smudge. So everything I do really seems to have one hard edge and one soft edge. And that's just the way it works. And the key to it is keeping your brush nice and clean. So cauldron looking halfway decent. The hat, not too bad, but the edges are a bit scruffy and fluffy, aren't they? And the best way to deal with that, take a thinner brush. So here I'm down to a number 4. And come back into your background colour. And by doing this, you can give everything you paint almost a halo. And with this, make sure it's dry. Wherever you go, it's got to be dry, otherwise it will make a mess. And with this, you're going to come in and just gently, gently pop this colour along the edge to tighten up the lines, little bit at a time. Pop it in. And then with a clean brush, just damp, just simply blend. Just pull it away like so. And that, if you do that around every edge, it'll give you a super smart finish. Just up here, around here, look. And look how that tightens the whole thing up and smartens it up. I do that around everything that I paint, and it makes such a difference. Where the cat is sitting, we can do the same there, but we're doing this on his body this time. So we come in and gently, gently pop that up there, along there, and then through here. And look, you've got a decent handle on your cauldron now. And to smudge it, again, just come in, smudge gently, gently, wiggle the brush a little bit, like so. Your options here are to come in and darken this even more. You can do this now, take it down even another tone by adding some burnt umber. And with this, we can pop this in underneath here, through here, and this will give you some real darks. Where two angles meet, the shadow curves, like so. And the same applies. Rinse your brush, get rid of the pigment, come back and gently, gently blend it away. So you can whip round your cauldron and do this in all the nooks and crannies, down here for instance. Dark shadow in there, like that. Our little cat needs a bit of attention too, doesn't he? We'll get to him in a minute. I just want to give the idea and the feeling that we have 2 feet on our cauldron and they are both. Look at that. You see, just by adding a brush stroke, how different it can appear. And again, one soft edge, one hard edge, like so. We can tighten up more edges. Now you see around here, of course, look, it's a different colour. So if we just do that, what a difference it makes. There we are. Our pussycat, he's a bit of an issue, isn't he? He's all Payne's grey. What about the highlights? Well, we've got options with that. Let's put his eyes in, and that will give us some light, and we'll see where we're going with it. How about mixing orange eyes? If I take my Scarlet Lake and I add a little bit of my quinacridone gold and use it really, really thinly, eyes, you always want to put a lot of colour in there, but in actual fact, if you keep them pale, they're much more interesting, light eyes. There you go. He's going to have little pink ears. Through those ears, cats have light ears, don't they? So up through here, you'd be seeing this glow from the cauldron. It would be shining through his ears. Poor little cat, he looks as though his ears are on fire, doesn't he? There we are, a little light in those ears, little warmth. With this highlight, here's his tail coming round his body. We can take our brush, and with this, how about lifting out some paint? Now this is one option. You can come in and you can lift paint out. And this will give you your highlights on your pussycat. That works, it's good fun. And of course that will give you the kind of texture that you're looking for, as though you have fur underneath. Your other option, of course, you can take these sponges, and if you rinse that, squeeze it, make sure you have no drips on your hands. And then with this we can just pull out the highlights on his leg. So that's another option. Or take some white gouache, and with this, simply pop it on your pussycat. So here's his little face here, and he'd have two little jowls here. There's his nose, bridge of his nose. Come in and just blend it away. Just blend it away. You can do this all over your pussycat for highlights. Whiskers, we've got to put whiskers in there too, haven't we? We need to pop in his nose. We need to pop in his eyes, like so. And whiskers, interestingly enough, if you take a very fine brush, his whiskers on his face have got to be thin, pale, white whiskers, like so. But when you're coming out into the light here, you have to, simply have to, turn them into dark whiskers, because otherwise they're not going to show. So our little cat, highlights, lowlights, it's all there. You can freshen that up by adding some white gouache and just blending it away. Some on his back, here, up here. Put it on, clean brush, come back and just blend. And you have the apprentice sitting next to the cauldron, waiting for the witch to arrive to see how very wrong the spell has probably gone for her. So until we meet next time, thank you, Matthew. Back to you.
Magical finishing touches there. Thanks for that, Sharon. Remember, for more information on any of the materials featured on today's programme and news of special discounts available, click on the Home Shop section of the SAA website and discover a whole new world of artistic inspiration available at your fingertips. Okay, time for our final break, but join us in part 4 when I'll be sharing a few more of my simple tips and tricks to show you how to add a London bus to last week's London painting. We'll see you soon.